On this week's show, Peloton announces that they are outsourcing their manufacturing.
And we received confirmation that the Rower will come out this year, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 90 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined back this week with my co-host, John Pruitt. Hey, John.
Hey now, episode 90.
Episode 90. We're almost there. We're almost at a century episodes. Isn't that pretty cool, huh?
No, I can't wait for episode 99.
All right, we'll have to make a really big deal about that one just for you, John Pruitt.
Yeah.
So, are you buzzing?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It felt a little strange going to the Peloton Studio though, and only doing one class.
Okay.
I felt it felt, because I didn't really have, I didn't have much of a choice. I was supposed to actually do two classes. I was there really to do Cody's 30-minute ride that he had scheduled for that morning last Friday. And then when I was flying out, Rebecca Kennedy messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to do my walk, my 20-minute walk that I have?" And the classes were far enough, between each other that I could do that class and then do the Cody ride. And then late the night before, Cody canceled, and he's down sick with a stomach bug that he's had to, I guess, cancel some other classes for. But it was really nice. It was a really nice space. It's very open. There's 3 levels for members that they have access to. So that the first area you walk into, and there's also another side. There's this whole courtyard you can hang out with. There's tables, there's retail stores and coffee shops all around there. A lot of times the instructors walk through there, so it might be a good people watching area. But that's the sort of the back entrance, I guess, for maybe some instructors can get in there, but normally it's locked. So the front side on, I guess, 10th Avenue is where you enter, where pretty much everybody enters the building from. And there's a nice open lobby area where you're greeted. And then off to the left, there's some tables. And then there's like a couple levels, like steps that you can sort of sit on and sit against the wall, sort of on this little bench, sort of bench-like couch. And then you go up to the next level, and those are all the studios. And they've got like this whole little sort of bench where you form a line to take pictures at the Peloton P on the floor in this one corner, and they've got all this lighting set up. So it's been well thought out for the new studio. They take all the pictures with like a nice fancy camera. There's a designated camera person, so you don't give your camera to the person
right
with Peloton anymore. But a lot of people were handing phones to friends so they could take some pictures off to the side
pictures,
and capture some candid moments. But yeah, there's several studios right there, and then you go up to the sort of the 3rd level, and that's where the locker rooms are. That's the member lounge. There's a little retail area, which you can actually access the retail area from the street or from outside at different times during the day. They put up this little partition. I noticed that they had that up later on in the day. So basically it blocks you from going into the other area of that studio space. So they had it walled off. So I guess at different times in the day, you could go to the little retail area that they've got in the studio, just off the street there, probably from that courtyard area that I mentioned. But it was fun. The hike was great. They get you in there super early, 30 minutes before the class began, because they really are all about the production, the lighting. They initially put me on a tread by the pillar. I was kind of like tucked behind everyone, and then they felt bad and they moved me over to the side. And I tried to get on the wait list for.
Do you remember which tread number it was?
It was off it was like 3 or 4 from Rebecca's right side, And we peaked in, Adrian, the strength studio. I guess there's about 8 spots. So that's kind of an intimate class setting. And I couldn't get into Adrian's strength class. I was waitlisted for that. But he was really super friendly and gracious, and he sat down with us and chatted with us, and we took a selfie. And then afterwards, we took, a picture after the walk with Rebecca. We took pictures. She hung out for a while, and then Allie's class let out, and I got in line for the Allie picture just for fun. And Emma was there because she was riding in that class. And then I tried to get in Olivia's run. There was a couple other classes that had members in the studio that I tried to get in for unsuccessfully, but Olivia's run was one of them, and wasn't able to get in that. So I hung out there for a while because I just figured I would, chat up the instructors.
And they're cool with that?
Other classes. Yeah. There was no sense of urgency in, now that your class is done, you're at your time limit, you got to go. It was very quiet and chill. You probably won't see that few members in there again, before the grand opening, which apparently is August 18th. Is the word on the street, August 18th.
All right.
But no, so once I found out I didn't get in the Olivia run, I took a shower. The showers, at least the men's locker room, I didn't go in the women's, but the men's locker room is massive compared to the old 23rd Street cycling studio in Chelsea. I mean, the old men's room only had one toilet and one, I think, urinal. And now there's like 5 or 6, stalls with glass doors, and probably at least 10 or 11 shower stalls, and one handicap one as well with a curtain and a support bar. Awesome. if you're handicapped. Many sinks, hair dryers, all the nice little amenities of home, but just so much huge, so much bigger than the old 23rd Street. And I was the only one in there. There was really, I had the whole place to myself, so it was nice.
Amazing.
Plenty of lockers.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So
it was a cool, chilled vibe. And well, I kind of, by the time this goes to air, I will have gotten to experience it too. So I am really excited. I have gotten into to do Jess King's hike and Dennis Morton's Friday ride. So
nice.
I was really, really pleased. Cool. Yeah, Fresh Friday. So really excited. And again, I mean, just for the experience, for me, I as excited as I am about going up, I should say, and getting to do it, I'm going to get to meet the star of our show, and Chris Lewis and I are going to meet for the first time. So that's going to be really cool. So next week I'll have lots to share about the brains behind Pelo Buddy, because as you folks know, John and I are just the faces. But I'm really excited. So yeah, John, it sounds like it was fantastic. I'm just bummed that we couldn't have coordinated it for the 3 of us to be here, but hopefully we'll get, Chris Giles and Richard out from the UK, and we'll all be able to sign up and do stuff in the studio. So that's awesome. Thank you for that amazing rundown, and I will share my experience.
I'm interested to hear your take on what your thoughts are. I mean, the studio is really nice. Everything is brand new, gorgeous. Like they just took the wrapping off of it. It's funny on the treads, which are not Tread Pluses, that the members work out on. They're the Peloton tread, so it's the belt. You can high five now, but it's actually you have to be very precise when you hit your finger to high five in the studio on the tablet, because if you tap anywhere near the outside of like the picture icon, it opens up that person's stats.
Got it.
So it's not as easy to high five, and it was kind of I kind of shied away from doing that because it just, it takes your attention away from being there in the moment, in the studio. Yeah. But you can do it now, but it's not as easy and fluid as it is, doing it on your home tablet.
And I know that, I know in the UK, certainly for folks that have been into the studio, phones are allowed in at this point. You can take pictures, you can do video, while you're getting started. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I had my phone. Yeah, we had our phones in there. I went live, briefly when I first got in there when we were, 20 something minutes out from the class beginning. And Rebecca didn't come out into the studio until, 10 minutes before. It wasn't like she was standing in there hanging out with us the whole time. But at some point they said, please power down your phones.
All right.
So I put mine away and, I didn't want to get called out for still, peeking on my phone. But yeah, that's what they said at the New York studio.
All right. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess we have lots to report today. So as always, before we get started with the news, we would like to remind you how to keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
Yep. If you want to just listen to us, we're on all traditional podcast platforms. Search Pelo Buddy TV, hit subscribe. Also click on notifications so you never miss an episode and leave us a review. We love to read some of the great positive reviews that we receive from you. And also we love to know how we're doing. We value that feedback on ways we can improve and add and enhance the show. So please let us know.
Awesome. And finally, folks, we are, of course, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all the latest news so that you never miss anything. And I guess, John, let's get on with the show.
All right.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. First up, and our top story, it looks like Peloton will actually be outsourcing their manufacturing moving forward. So on Tuesday, Peloton put out a press release that they had made a decision to outsource all of the manufacturing and that their third party Rexon will make all bikes and treads moving forward. The big question some folks were asking is, what does that mean for Tonic, who Peloton had acquired back in 2019? And it does seem that they will actually be suspending operations at the Tonic Fitness Technology facility through the remainder of 2022. So CEO Barry McCarthy did come out saying that they were taking another significant step to just simplify their supply chain. And by doing so, this would enable the company to reduce the cash burden on the business and increase their flexibility. He did also state that it would allow Peloton to focus on technology and content to help the members become the best versions of themselves. So Chief Supply Chain Officer Andrew Rendich was interviewed by Bloomberg, and he stated that Peloton was going back to partnered manufacturing, which in turn then allows them to ramp up and ramp down based on capacity and demand. Besides Rexon, Peloton will also work with additional third-party manufacturing partners, one of them being Peloton Corporation, who will be building the upcoming Peloton Rower. So we know that that's coming, and you're going to talk about that next. But it is interesting how they've now gone back to third party. And I guess with closing down Output Park, John, it just does make sense. It obviously was really costly to bring it in-house. And hopefully they'll be able to manage the supply and demand moving forward.
Well, it makes sense considering the plans for the massive facility in Ohio that was to be named Peloton Output Park, where they were going to see a lot of the manufacturing from start to finish. It makes sense that they're now still relying on the third party. Right. Because that place is now up for sale, and obviously they're not moving forward with that whole massive facility. So makes sense. Well, for anyone who is wondering about the Peloton Rower, we haven't heard much about it, much rumblings since the official announcement back in May at Peloton Homecoming, where we saw just a really quick video of Adrian Williams rowing on it. all they said was it's coming soon. But we've got some recent confirmation that it is still on track to be released this year in 2022. There were some posts Peloton had made about the rower that were removed recently in the last month or so, though a few of them still remain, which had led, there was, some news reports from different media outlets, speculating that they might have scrapped plans to do it. But I think Chris Lewis had mentioned that it possibly could have been design tweaks. So they might have removed some images or video clips of it because, now with the third-party manufacturing, recent updates, maybe they've made some minor changes to the appearance of it. That was one speculation from Pelo Buddy. Peloton's chief supply officer, Andrew Rendick.
Yep.
He gave an update on the rower this past Tuesday, the 12th, in an interview with Bloomberg News. Speaking about Peloton's plans to only use third-party manufacturing, he specifically mentioned that the rower would be built by a new partner. And as you mentioned, Amanda, they're adding Peloton Corporation, which, like Quanta, is a major Apple supply chain partner to build the upcoming rower. But he did confirm that the new product is on track for release in 2022. There's no more information about a potential release date. I know we've speculated that possibly it might go on sale September, early in the fall, with deliveries beginning possibly in October. So that still sounds somewhat likely based on this recent confirmation. So we're right around the corner. I mean,
well, I'm pleased to know that there is still, but I'm pleased to know that there is still the, word on the street that it's going to be available, because I think everyone would have been very disappointed if we got that tease during homecoming and then they pulled it, because people were excited. We've been waiting a long time for it. So, and I know that in the last few weeks, Hydro have been doing their little bit and trying to reduce their price and whatever. So, they obviously know. They know the word on the street and that Peloton Rower is coming out. And again, I gotta, and I gotta tell you, I'll say it real quick, but having, gotten the tonal, I mean, Mark uses it all the time, but I cannot get into the platform. It's so hard to work with a different set of instructors, to work with a different, and so I would never consider getting a different rower. For me, I love the fact that it's all one platform. I know how to use it. I know how to find things. So I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased that that's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I was really tempted about the Hydro because I always heard Howard Stern talking about it because his wife Beth loves using the Hydro, and Howard, for a while he was talking about Peloton nonstop, but he was also mentioning Hydro so much that Beth loves doing that workout. I was really tempted to maybe get it for like the trial, but I don't want to have a separate subscription. Yeah, like you said, getting used to a whole another set of instructors and a different platform. I'll hold out and wait. So, I mean, we don't have much longer. So, summer will be over before you know it. Exactly. Well, also in shifting a little bit with the All for One Music Festival, should be coming back. I don't have a date yet. I don't know if Control Room wants to chime in. I'm thinking maybe August. Once again, it'll be returning, but we do know it's in August. Thank you. We do know so far it'll feature music from John Mayer, one of my favorites, Florence and the Machine, and more. And it's funny the way it was discovered in a recent 15-minute Camila Ramon ride. The wrong subtitles were loaded for that ride, which the subtitles were actually intended for a 10-minute John Mayer cool down for Christine D'Ericle. And in the subtitles, she talks about the John Mayer cool down as well as Florence and the Machine classes and how it's all part of the All for One Music Festival. So it's just an interesting slip there that we found out details about the upcoming All for One music festival.
There's an
But
intern.
I'm excited.
There's an intern that got a slap on the wrist for that one.
Sven the intern. Yep.
That's too funny. I know that you're excited for John Mayer. There's no question.
Oh, I love me some John Mayer. Can't get enough of him.
That's gonna be.
That's my
So we don't know who other than Christine, who will have a cool down. I guess we don't know who are going to be the instructors that are going to have classes yet, but we can look out for that.
And
All
I'm
right.
sure by now Peloton has fixed and loaded in the correct subtitles on that Camilla Ramone ride. I would think they've caught it by now, especially if they got word of this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. After the interns finished watching Pelo Buddy this weekend, you know that Monday morning there will be new subtitles on that ride.
Yep.
Well, we got to hear from John about his amazing experience in the studio. And that was really fun, John. And I'm so glad that you had such an awesome time. But I do know that there were many that were disappointed last week who were unable to get into PSNY when booking opened. So as we all know, we spoke about it on the show last week, Friday, out of the blue, we discovered that classes for the rest of July were open for members to actually book themselves. And it's almost insane how quickly everything happened. So Peloton relaunched the Peloton Studios website with the next 3 Fridays being available for members to book in studio. And that was for workouts both in New York and in London. So this past Friday, the 15th, this coming Friday, the 22nd, and Friday, the 29th were all available for members to book as part of the continued, as I said, preview sessions that Peloton were
soft
offering.
opening. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Peloton New York pretty much filled up within an hour. Classes were literally going from available to booked to waitlisted within minutes. There were tons of very, very unhappy Americans, certainly folks that were able to book in the New York tri-state area and were looking at going into the studio. UK classes filled up pretty quickly too. But you know what, John, it was very interesting that the German language classes were still available even a few days later. So, I guess people were maybe people are intimidated in going into a German class just because of the language barrier. Clearly the German instructors are based in London, so it's obviously UK folks that are going into the classes. But I got to tell you folks, John and I have certainly spoken about it so frequently about how fantastic the German instructors are. And if nothing else, for the experience. I mean, why wouldn't you just want to go on and get to be there? And the instructors throw in so much English while they're doing their workouts anyway that you really would never, ever, ever felt lost. But what we did find out was that so certainly for those of you that were disappointed that they, and for those of you that couldn't actually get on quick enough to book, Christine Dergley spilled some tea, letting us know that more classes will be available to be booked on Tuesday, July 19th. So she had actually mentioned that she would be teaching a class on Friday, August the 3rd at 5:45 p.m. and that members would be able to book starting July 19th. So it's safe to say that it's still way too early to know how often and how far out Peloton will be posting classes for bookings and a regular, basis once the studio opens fully. But we are expecting, though, that the studios should be fully reopened, as you said, John, by August 18th. So that's definitely the word on the street. So what we're anticipating is that come this Tuesday, there'll be bookings that will be opening up again for those 2 weeks in August. And then that rumor has it that there'll be, when it goes live, that you'll be able to book for 3 weeks out. Now, remind me, I'm absolutely blanking. When we were able to book previously, it was just for the week ahead, correct? It was 1 week out.
1 week in advance.
If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken,
seven
right?
days.
1 week in
Yep.
advance. All right.
Yeah.
So it gives folks that are going to want to travel, and I think that's probably what they're looking at doing, is giving folks an opportunity to be able to book far enough in advance. So if you are going to be traveling into New York or into London, you can make those travel arrangements. But I think folks need to be and certainly for the Germans coming in from Germany, if they want to come in, for the weekend and spend the time in the weekend, it gives them opportunities to book ahead of time. But what I was about to say is that, while I think that that's awesome, I hope people are respectful in if they do go ahead and get onto a class and then determine that they actually are not going to make it, that they do cancel. Because I think there would be nothing more frustrating than seeing bikes and treads and spots open where there could be folks that really would want to be there. So, that's just kind of my my service announcement in saying that if you do end up booking a class and you aren't able, in advance that you aren't able to be there, then just be courteous enough to go back online and cancel yourself, out of that class. So I guess you're asked to cancel 12 hours before. And, again, we don't know what the cost is going to be. So certainly, there is going to be, I'm sure there will be a price that is going to be associated with booking into these classes. As of now, they're free, which is awesome. But again, we aren't really aware as to what the price, is going to be. So as mentioned previously, it is expected that we will have classes available to members from Friday through to Sunday, with Monday and Thursday being coach to camera. I think with a mix of both live and on-demand classes.
It looks like Jen Sherman. It looks like she finally has a class with members because she's on the schedule, I think, for next Friday.
Yes,
so
the 22nd.
It looks like they're rotating instructors around that don't normally teach on Fridays, so everyone has a chance before the full open to experience some members again in the studio, which I think is great.
Exactly.
I only wish I was coming back, for that. That would have been fun. It would have been fun to be in a ride. It was weird to go to the studio and not do a ride.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I got to say, that's why I feel so fortunate in being able to just pop in my car, not have to make too many arrangements, just, jump in my car and, head up to New York, being able to do that. So, and I have my daughter living there, so I'm able to, be with her, which is great. So yeah, I know that there are folks that are frustrated and, I'm still hearing folks saying, oh, I wish they would open a studio in, California or on the West Coast. And again, we've said this time and time again, yes, it's a novelty right now. Everybody wants to be in the studio. Everybody wants to get to meet the instructors. But the purpose, as we all know, of Peloton is to be able to do it from the convenience of your home. And this is just an extra cherry on the cake. All right. So moving on, for any of you that have taken US trade classes in the last couple of days, I'm not sure if you had noticed that something was different on Wednesday, but it seemed that PSNY had once again gone ahead and updated their look. In Maddie Majacomo's 5:30 p.m. Tread Bootcamp on July the 11th, members taking that class noticed that there was a brand new, very large illuminated platform that the instructors' tread actually sat on. And there was also a smaller illuminated platform in front of the tread that they used for their floor workouts for strength. So that was something that was, brand new. And I think you did Rebecca's boot camp on Wednesday. And did you see it? Did you see it too?
Yeah, I had messaged Chris Lewis, and of course he already got the heads up on it. So I was late, but I noticed it right away.
Was it distracting? Was it good? What was your take on it?
No, it just looked like this little illuminated sort of platform.
All right.
With sort of a subtle light around the edging of it. But it makes more sense. They're sort of elevated a little bit off the ground, maybe 5 or 6 inches off the ground. And they probably did that so there was more of like a designated space that once they have members in the studio, you're not supposed to go into that area.
Got it.
Got it.
And I'm assuming that they'll offer. But I'm assuming that they'll offer tread boot camps once,
I hope
members
so.
come in
Yeah.
too. I mean, that would be
Yeah.
really fun. It did seem, though, just as a side note, that it was just PSNY that had this new illuminated platform. The studios in London did not yet. And as we know, at this point, it is only Jocelyn that does do the tread boot camps. So maybe as they start doing more of those, they'll look at possibly doing the same thing in the UK as well.
Okay. Well, Ashton Kutcher is partnering with Peloton to train for a marathon that he's running. He's running his first full 26.2 mile marathon, the New York City one coming up in the fall. And as he trains, Peloton has refreshed their marathon training program called Road to 26.2. They published a blog post about it with some more info. But he is teaming up with Peloton and instructor Bex Gentry to get race ready by following Peloton's whole marathon training program. And he's training for a cause that is close to his heart. He's raising funds for a nonprofit called Thorn, which he co-founded 10 years ago. The blog post, it contains a video with Ashton running on the Peloton tread, eventually alongside Bex Gentry. He says, we're going to make a show, so enjoy the show. So it sounds like he is referring to an episode he's probably going to record or has recorded of the On the Leaderboard podcast series. Is it a podcast series? No, it's the class series, which will probably
the YouTube.
It's been on YouTube, but
and then it comes on.
But then they also put it on the tread. The previous one with Joe Jonas and Olivia Amato, and also past guests include besides
Usain Bolt,
Joe Jonas,
Usain Bolt. Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll have that also, maybe some sort of walk or run, recovery run, maybe with him and Bex, next to each other on dueling Peloton treads. But that should hopefully be fun to look forward to.
Yeah, I think that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And remember that invite friends feature that we had spoken about when Peloton announced during Homecoming? Well, it does seem that it is now being rolled out to members. The new feature allows members to schedule classes in advance with family or friends and makes working out together a little bit more easy, whereby you can now celebrate milestones or birthdays, or if you just want to kind of spend time with your friends on the tread or the bike, you can invite them to join you on a specific ride. So Peloton has published a new support page that does contain the steps on how to go about doing this. And you can certainly head over to pelobuddy.com if you need any help in figuring out how to send an invite. So when I was preparing for the show, I did want to go ahead and see how it worked. And I had sent it out to a girlfriend of mine and she was like, oh, are we going to be meditating together? So I asked her how it came and she said that it was a notification that popped up on her phone. I thought it was maybe an email, but it was just a notification, kind of like you say, where it says, your class is starting in 10 minutes. You get a notification on your phone that gives you a heads up that somebody has invited you to do that. And then I guess you can go ahead and click on it and then count yourself in for that specific out. And my understanding is it's going to be for live classes, on-demand classes, and encore classes. So just a fun way of getting the community together. Now that they've taken away the video chat option, this is just another way that folks can engage with one another within the community.
Yeah, and make sure
the only thing I didn't like about it, you know what, John? The only thing I didn't like about it is that there wasn't a search feature. So you really had to go down your whole list. And if you have thousands that you follow, it can be quite frustrating. There was no search feature yet to search a name. I may be mistaken, and maybe that's
just
something that
scroll?
they're going to be doing, but you kind of have to just scroll down, which was a little frustrating.
Okay.
I happened to have picked my friend Tracy McCann, who was Atomic Blonde 1. So she was right at the top of my list because it does go alphabetically. And so Trace got an invite from me at 10:30, the night before. That was how I found. But that's the only thing that I do want to say. Yeah.
And make sure you have notifications enabled, or else you won't get that little pop-up message on your phone. Well, talking about the app, for Android users of the Peloton app, including our very own Chris Lewis of Pelo Buddy, there's been a nice update that's finally made its way over to Android. So the GPS tracking feature that's been long available on Peloton iOS seems to finally be making its way over to Android. The latest app update contains a new mention of the GPS tracking feature, contains 3 features. GPS, they're rolling out support for GPS in beta over the coming weeks. So it looks like people slowly starting to get it here and there. But it allows you to track speed, distance, and route of your outdoor runs. Portrait Player, I'm sure a lot of folks will appreciate this, allows you to watch any class in portrait orientation. So you can follow your Peloton class anywhere you want. So you're not limited to
having
just
to look at it vertically.
Landscape. And you can filter for Peloton guide classes. So
that was actually, go ahead.
The Made for Movement tracker filter allows you to filter for strength and bookmark them to take on your Peloton guide.
Yeah, so that was something that that we had seen, that was something new too. And certainly for Android users, they're definitely happy about that. And it's only for Android users as of now, is that highly requested feature from Peloton Guide, which is the ability to filter the strength library by guide classes, is in fact now available on the Android app. So the Android app users should now be able to see an option, which, as you just said, made for movement. So kind of if you swipe that on, it will allow members to see guide compatible classes and will hide any strength classes that do not have a movement tracker feature. So that was an added Android feature, but that's just for Android. So it's interesting how sometimes iOS get things first, sometimes Android gets things first. I'm not sure the thought process behind that and why it's not done simultaneously, but that was certainly kind of interesting.
Well, I just used the just workout feature for walking on my Apple phone, on my iPhone. And I thought it was kind of cool. I walked my mom's dogs over the last weekend in New Jersey. And I thought it was really cool. I saw like the whole map of my route. And then when I walked back and doubled back to her house, it was kind of cool to see all that information tracked. And it even showed the color of the route sort of go away when I guess I stopped at some point with them.
Yeah.
But, it's pretty,
it's a very cool feature.
Precise.
And I like how it gives you all your stats. Yeah. And it gives you kind of all your stats. So you know what you're doing, which is very cool. What I also like about it, and I've spoken about this before, is the fact that you can listen to your own playlist and you can also take a phone call. So if you're on an app, if you're on one of the app workouts that is not if it's one of the outdoor programs, or even if you're just doing a tread program, it stops. If your phone rings, it actually stops the workout, and you kind of can't keep going. But with the just workout option, it just keeps going as long as you need it to.
It's just running in the background.
To remember to stop it. Right. You just have to remember to stop it when you get back to where you need to go. And then there was a huge tiz on Thursday morning when, it was interesting because we all saw on Wednesday night Robin and Cody doing Lizzo's why did I just blank on this now? What is it called? The Lizzo dance that everyone's doing. It's about damn time. I completely blanked on that for a minute there. But everyone, everyone's TikToking the about damn time. And it was funny because on Wednesday evening, Cody and Robin were all over, social media doing it. I'm thinking to myself, they're a little late to the party. Rebecca was doing this, weeks ago. Little did I even think that what was happening on Thursday morning was a new artist series was going to drop. And it looks, it looks like we got a brand new artist series from Lizzo, which was really a great way of Peloton sharing how that artist series was happening. And it was her announcing it. So she actually went on social media on her bike, all dressed up in her workout gear, as funny as Lizzo is, and shared that there was going to be Lizzo classes, which dropped this past Friday. So there was a 20-minute outdoor run with Justin Thompson Rule. There was a full body strength with Jess Sims, a German ride with Cliff Dwenger, a run with Marcel Dinkins, and a yoga flow with Mariana Fernandez. But I guess the hoopla was all about the 2-for-1 with Cody and Robin. So hence that's why they obviously shared the fact that they, did the It's About Damn Time TikTok. So that all dropped on Friday. I can't wait to hear more about it. And I'm sure there's going to be tons of folks that are very happy about that new artist series. So that was kind of fun.
Nice. Well, and other artists, and other music series classes, Jess King, she has a new EDM EDU series. She posted just on Instagram a couple days ago. She's got 4 special EDM rides over the next 4 weeks that break down the different categories of electronic dance music and their subgenres. This past Wednesday night, the 13th, she explored house music with a 30-minute house ride. Next Wednesday night, the 20th at 5 p.m. Eastern, she has a 30-minute techno ride. And then the following Wednesday, the 27th, same time, 5 p.m. Eastern, she has a 30-minute EDM trap ride. So for anyone that hasn't gotten into the EDM, I've only listened to EDM on Peloton platforms, but I love to work out to it.
So interestingly enough, she actually dropped a 15. Yeah, she's very into it, but she dropped a 15-minute low impact also on Wednesday. And she took all artists pretty much from Africa. So there were a couple South African artists, which were really cool. And then she threw in, there was a Nigerian and a Haitian that she had used, which was also kind of this house music. Very, very cool. And I did it. And it was really Black Coffee, who I know Rebecca Kennedy loves and uses a lot in her classes, is an artist that I've known, for years, and a very famous and popular South African artist. So it was fun. It was fun for her talking about, South Africa. And for me, obviously, every time I hear it, it'll always be a part of my heart there. So it was kind of really cool. It was definitely cool.
And then also Peloton is continuing their collaboration with DFB, which is Germany's national football organization, which is soccer over in Europe. There's 2 new classes available with instructor Nico Serrani and the DFB women's team. And they're on demand currently. One is a 10-minute DFB focus flow from the 8th, and the other is a 10-minute DFB peak performance meditation. The classes are both in German, but they do have English subtitles, which is nice to know, which I wish more of the German classes had English subtitles. But there is a special badge for taking one of these 2 classes. And we also have the complete badge list of known Peloton badges, both past and present, on pelobuddy.com. So dive into those if you have not already. And I know there's those classes, it's fun to see people, in the studio there, especially in the small sort of studio spaces where...
Because it's so intimate.
Yeah, where people are basically like right there.
All right. Well, it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere, which means that the kids are around more with summer holidays. So I guess now would be a great time to get them excited about working out. And Peloton has offered Fit Family classes before, and they have just gone ahead now and released some more. So on Monday, July the 11th, Jess Sims dropped 3 classes. 2 5-minute Fit Family Fun brain break classes where she was roasting marshmallows by doing squats, throwing water balloons, and going fishing. I did jump on so that I could get to see what this was all about. And she was very cute in how she really made it engaging for kids that were doing it. And her, the squats were, she said, take your marshmallow and go ahead and roast it and then come back up. And when she was doing, throwing water balloons, she was kind of going from one side to the other. I thought it was a really, really cool way for her to engage kids in being able to work out with their parents. She also had a 15-minute Fit Family Fun class as well. And then Kristen McGee dropped 3 Fit Family Fun yoga flows. So she had a 15-minute flow for kids, a 15-minute flow for tweens, and then a 10-minute kids flow. So, I think what an awesome way to get, your kids excited to work out with you. That's something I think, you should probably have Jackson do the Jess Sims ones. He probably would love it.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
For all of us. I know Jackson, while I was away, Jackson rode on my bike while Jackie rode on hers, and they did the David Guetta ride together with Ben.
So awesome.
And apparently he quit halfway through, so I have to throw that out. He didn't finish it. Kid, it's tough to keep his attention span, but yeah, maybe a class where we're all together on the floor, maybe that could keep him engaged long enough to make it.
Yeah, and I think also those 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
2 of Jess's were 5 minutes, and they were hard. I worked through them, and because I wanted to know what they were all about when I was going to be reporting about it. So they were actually quite hard. So definitely fun. You should try it.
She packs it in there for the even the shorter classes. She knows she doesn't have a whole lot of time, so she really squeezes as much as she can in there, especially the flash 15. She gets right down to business. Emma Lovewell has a 5-year anniversary class coming up on the 26th to celebrate 5 years of Peloton, which I thought she'd been at Peloton a lot longer than that, which I was surprised to see. But she's the 30-minute celebration anniversary ride is coming up. It's this Tuesday morning, the 26th at 7:30 a.m. So don't miss that. And
no, not this Tuesday. 2 weeks time. 2 weeks time. This Tuesday.
Oh, sorry, 2 weeks.
Don't rush July, please. Don't get ahead of yourself. We need to get through, but it's Tuesday, 2 weeks. Yeah, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
From
Okay.
Tuesday.
We got some time. We got some time. A
week
week from this awesome. Tuesday. Yes.
Correct. And then how many of you love to stretch? Well, if 5, 10, or 15 minutes just isn't enough, now you can stretch with a fave, Rebecca Kennedy, for 30 minutes. Rebecca dropped a 30-minute full body stretch on Wednesday, July the 13th, to the tunes of Drake, Disclosure, Gorgon City, Miguel, to name a few. I know that for me, this was something that I've really, really waited for. I, will do it with my yoga. I love to stretch. I definitely do a 10 or 20 minute. I did do it. I did it on Thursday morning, and it was fantastic. She got everything. It wasn't super hard. She was very patient. I loved the way she explained all the muscles that you were using. And she actually said, you don't have to do this on a day you're working out. Go ahead and, just do it on a rest day and just stretch your body out for 30 minutes. So huge kudos to her, on that 30 minute. Because, it's not an easy class to do for 30 minutes because you have to kind of, talk the whole way and say what you're doing. But I thought that she did a brilliant job of that 30-minute stretch. So huge kudos to her.
Well, Peloton has created a new collection of Spanish language classes called En Español, which means in Spanish. And it features 35 different classes with Rad Lopez, Mariana Fernandez, and Camila Morón, all instructed in Spanish. And the collection reads, "The workouts you love, from strength and cycling to yoga and meditation, are now available in Spanish from your favorite Spanish language instructors." And yeah, I got yoga, meditation, rides. According to Peloton, the collection will be added to regularly as new classes become available. I've done one or two Spanish language classes with Camilla, but I haven't done any with Rad. I actually didn't know Rad taught any classes in Spanish.
Yeah, it does the strength. Yep. I haven't either. I haven't done any of his, but I've definitely done Camilla and Mariana, which are great. So have any of you received a random email from Peloton asking to sign up for a Q&A panel? Some members in the UK and Australia have, and the subject line says, "Could you be the person to inspire another Peloton member?" Peloton are asking members to share their knowledge with the community. The email goes on to say that right now there are hundreds of people in that same place that you may have been in deciding on whether or not to get a Peloton and figuring out whether to make the decision that could change the way that they experience fitness. So Peloton are asking members to share their knowledge, their insights, and their experience with those that are still on the fence. And, again, they're just trying to push the product out there. There are millions of people that could still jump on the Peloton platform. And it's a great way of them engaging. So it's a three-part, the three steps to this, three parts to the different steps that one has to take. One is to sign up to be a part of the Q&A panel of Peloton Pros. Two, email, they say you'll get an email no more than once a month when they have questions from possible new members. And three is for you to just share your knowledge and help inspire and encourage new members to join the community. So they state that everything goes through them and none of your details will be shared. So if folks are anxious about giving out their private emails and that type of thing, nothing will go directly from you to a potential member. It will all be done through Peloton. So again, for right now, it is just folks in the UK and Australia that have been incorporated in this initiative. But who knows? I mean, maybe if it's if it turns out to be a great initiative, it may come out to the US as well. So for right now in Canada.
That's very cool. Well, Tonal, the connected fitness company, just like Peloton, is also having to make some big changes. So they recently just cut 35% of their workforce as they prepare for a possible recession and IPO, according to a recent article in CNBC this past week. So Tonal, who the connected fitness equipment maker, who's backed by the likes of Serena Williams and Amazon's Alexa fund, is trimming 35% of their workforce. The company employs about 750 people today, compared with a little more than 110 before the COVID pandemic. Chief Executive Officer Ali Orady said in an interview. The CEO also said the company is trying to become profitable so that it can be successful, so that it can successfully go public with its IPO. So just like, most, everyone's feeling the pinch, just like Peloton, Tonal, a lot of these, connect. I'm sure Echelon, we haven't mentioned Echelon in a long time, but I'm sure they're feeling it now as people are venturing back to the gyms and outside now, not staying at home as much, like we did early on during quarantine.
Exactly.
And
interesting.
the price of Tonal, thank you, Control Room, just mentioned they've raised the price of the Tonal. I don't even know what you call it. Is it the Tonal at-home gym? What's the actual Tonal product called?
Yeah.
but yeah, they bumped it up. So I guess you got in a little bit before they bumped that price up.
Before they did. Thank
Dust
goodness,
off that
'cause
tonal,
it's not
Amanda.
getting used by me. It's dusted because Mark, I have to say, I've been pretty impressed that he.
They don't have a.
He
they don't have a
indeed
Leanne
does enjoy
Hainsby
it.
at tonal.
No,
with a British
there's
accent.
no Leanne Hainsby or John Husking. So,
There's no Cody.
what can
There's
I
only
do?
one.
No. All right, John. Well, I know that you and I have not been too impressed with the Peloton Adidas apparel drops in the past, but I guess some members out there must like it because they have just launched their third installment of the collaboration. So this past week, Peloton's, it was just this past Tuesday, Peloton's Apparel Instagram page posted a story teasing that the drop was going to happen starting on July 14th, which was just this past Thursday. Leanne, Hannah Frankson, John Husking, and German instructor Cliff Winger all shared on their stories pictures of themselves in the new apparel. So, it was great to see.
If it's unisex, Amanda, for me personally, I don't like the fit and cut of the unisex stuff, which seems common with the Adidas X past collaborations.
Yeah, so interestingly enough,
Ivy Park and before that.
Interesting enough, John, this one is not. So this one is very much dedicated to female and male. With different stuff for each of the genders. So yeah, there were
give a shout out.
2
or 3 pieces.
Yeah, for each one.
I will shout out, I just got 2 Dream Blend t-shirts in the mail a couple days ago, and the material, like this is one of them, the material is this is this one. Oh, it's so nice. I might have to get a couple more of these.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah,
I got this sort of pink salmon colored one, and then this gray one, but they're super comfortable. I love the Dream Blend, the best.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's really cool. Well, I guess, John, that wraps up the news section of the show. And next up is Instructor in the News. All right. So first up, huge congrats to Robin Arzon. Robin hit 1 million IG followers this past week. So that is incredibly impressive. I mean, there's no question that when you get to that point, it's got to make you feel pretty damn good. And so huge congrats to Robin for going ahead and hitting that 1 million mark. She actually was also featured this past week on Rich Roll's podcast. The topic was, how do you transform plateaus into launching pads? How do you turn your inner critic into an advocate? And most of all, how do you use your voice even when it's shaky? So this was actually Robin's 4th time chatting to Rich, and they spoke about the hows and whys of developing mental strength, the importance of unapologetically owning one's own story, and how to approach pre- and postnatal fitness. Also, how to say no to what doesn't serve you and your own yeses, navigating life's pivots and beginning a fitness journey, and so much more. It was a really awesome podcast. And as I said, it was her 4th time on Rich's podcast. So great podcast to take a listen to.
And Ben Aldis, he made a appearance on local TV in the UK this past week. He was on a morning show called This Morning, where he put the host through some very simple upper body movements in an outdoor workout segment in London, where I guess the weather was agreeing with him that day. It was a nice, perfect outdoor moment for them to do that segment. But I know the segment was posted on Ben's Peloton Army on his Facebook page, because I don't think you can easily watch it if you're outside of the UK.
Correct. There is a firewall.
But it's posted in some different areas, I know, on Facebook, according to Chris Lewis, who sent the link that was posted to Ben's fan page.
It was great to see him. I mean, apparently, IGTV is huge or ITV, I think it is huge in the UK. And it was so lovely to see everybody very excited about getting to see Ben on there. So huge shout out to Ben for that. It was great. And it was funny because Allison, who is one of the hosts, made a comment about if you're in the know, where do you work kind of thing. And if you're in the know, then you'll know a Peloton. But it was really funny to get to see everybody's comments about, yep, we're in the know. We know where Ben Oldest works. You don't have to tell us. But she's a hoot. I mean, she is just very funny. And it was very funny to see her kind of sitting back and watching, her and the other co-host, and I don't remember his name, to, do the exercises. And then she was like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and kind of dropped down on the floor and ended up doing it. So that was a fun TV segment to get to watch.
So I take it that
Adrian,
the other two hosts, were just in their normal hosting
clothes.
Attire. They didn't get into workout gear. Okay.
They did not. They did not do a Kelly Ripa and Ryan Seacrest. Although I think Ryan was actually
that always makes it a little awkward when you have to do
correct.
An exercise in your, suit and slacks.
Exactly. But they were fun, and they were good sports, and it was fun to see what they were doing. And in fact, it was actually kind of cool because Ben had said, just pick up some water bottles. And there were 2 big water bottles that the other co-host had just picked up. And that was kind of how he was showing the arm movements, was with the water bottles. So that was kind of a cool way of showing folks you don't have to have weights. You can use anything. So that was cool. And then Adrian Williams had shared on his Instagram his new partnership as an ambassador with Hexclad Cookware. So from knives to pots and pans, it looks like Adrian is going to be quite busy in the kitchen. And it seems that he's in very good company, John, because Hexclad is actually what Gordon Ramsay uses, as well as many other Michelin star chefs. So not only is Adrian Williams hot AF, not only is he just the nicest, as you said, meeting him in the studio, the nicest guy, but the man cooks as well. I mean, seriously, like where do I sign up? I mean, seriously. Any man that cooks is a man that wins my heart. So that's awesome.
Well, we have to congratulate Olivia, who got married this past weekend in Ireland. Her husband's apparently Irish or from Ireland originally, but I know Robin was going over there. I'm sure by now the posts and the pictures on social media have been posted all over. But congrats to newly married Olivia Amato. And I assume she's taking...
There are a ton of them that actually went, a ton of them. I know that Aditi was there, Jess Malone,
Emma was gone.
Emma's gone. Selena's there. Selena was in Italy, and then she popped over. So Selena's there. As you said, Robin was going. I think Kendall was going. There's a ton of folks that did end up going to Ireland. And it's been fun because I've been watching Aditi stories over the last week. She actually started in London and then, progressed into and met up with one of Daniel's friends, which I thought was kind of cool. And he was their tour guide. So Daniel McKenna had a friend named Daniel that took them around Ireland, and they were in Dublin I think they even went to Belfast. They may have said they were going to, I think the wedding may be in Galway, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not going to be, it's too early for me to know for sure. But I know that they had done a couple of those things. So it was fun. And I love Ireland. I mean, for years that I, was in my infertility world, I used to work with clinics in Dublin and in Cork. So it was fun to see where they were, and I recognized a couple of places. So that was really cool. And moving on, huge congrats goes out to Matt Wolpers, who did a 70.3 mile triathlon last weekend up at Lake Seneca in Geneva, New York. He swam 1.2 miles. I mean, seriously, Matt, couldn't you have swum further? I mean, 1.2 miles. He biked 56 miles and ran a half marathon. So ran 13.1 miles. He did take to Instagram sharing just how wonderful the race was, but he thanked everyone for the support and shared how he loved seeing so many Peloton athletes out there on the course. So whether they were actually participating or whether they were just there to be there, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun to see that. Really fun to see that.
Man is a beast.
I mean, he's a beast. Seriously. I mean, that's just insane. And I guess, John, that wraps up that part. So let's go right into picks of the week. And from what we understand from Chris Lewis, you folks really like hearing about the picks of the week. So there are quite a few of them this week, and we're going to go in and go right for them. So go ahead, John, since yours is the first up.
I'm gonna do like the first two, and then we can trade off. How about?
Go for it.
When we do, see how that works for the flow.
Let's go.
So while I was in Jersey this past last week, I didn't get to work out. My mom doesn't have a bike, so I decided to take it easy one day, and I did a recent 10-minute rest day meditation from Cody. It's from July 8th, and it was just a real nice. I sat on my bed, sort of cross-legged, and it's just a nice, nice chill 10 minutes. So check that one out on days when you're taking it easy and you don't want to really do anything super active. I like that one. And then we had the next one up was Nico Serrani's, her 10-minute DFB focus floor poses, which is in German, from July 8th as well. This one was submitted by Susie Spins 72, and they said easy to follow along while watching the members of the German soccer team with her.
All right. And next up, Sam Yo's 30-minute 80s rock ride. It was also from the 8th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Mamacita 064 said great song selections that left you out of breath, but still feeling good. All right. And then next up, our very own Chris M. Giles. Listen to me. Our very own Chris M. Giles offered up Myla Lazar's 20-minute dance music ride. It was in German. It is also from the 8th, 2 p.m. Chris said, first member class for Myla with a banging playlist, including Lizzo's About Damn Time, to kick it off, which was great. So thanks for that, Chris.
And next up is Kira Michelle's 30-minute Aussie Vibes Yoga Flow. This was submitted by her group, Kira's Koalas. They said, great playlist celebrating Australian musicians as part of the 1-year Australia anniversary. And then The Girl Who Spins submitted Hannah Frankson's 45-minute 2010s Pop Ride from July 9th. And she said this one was a vibe.
Awesome. All right. Jackie Spins 18 and Plant Powered Mom both recommended Camilla Roman's 15-minute Caribbean ride. It was from the 9th. I believe that was the ride with the incorrect subtitles. And that was the ride that they had the subtitles for the All for One. But they said the music was phenomenal. It was criminal how short this class was. Next up, we had Kim Carve 11, who did Alex Toussaint's 45-minute Club Bangers from the 9th of July, 1:30 p.m. Always a good time. And I'll keep going because the next one was mine. And for those of you that pay attention, I did strength and I loved it. So I did Ben Aldis's 10-minute Tropical House Bodyweight Strength. It was from Monday the 11th at 7 a.m. I got up nice and early and did back-to-back strength classes, but the Tropical House Bodyweight Strength was absolutely fantastic. It did happen to be my 250th milestone. So I'm finally getting there. I had felt embarrassed that I was only at 250, but I guess 250 is better than nothing, than nothing at all. And it really got me into it. So I managed to get 4 days of strength in this past week. And I'm really proud of myself. So I'm doing it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, next up, we had B. Simon Says submitted Olivia's 30-minute intervals and arms class ride from July 11th. I did this one live, actually. They said, such a great playlist and great energy since it's her last class for 2 weeks. And she was also wearing a custom-made top with her married last name on it, which is Waldron. So that was fun because she talked about it. She talked about it briefly in pre-show. Yeah. And then next up, John Hoskins, 30-minute pop ride.
Yep.
Probably 30-minute pop. Wait, ride? Run. It says pop rude. It says pop rude. So
all right.
John's 30-minute pop run from July 11th. That was submitted by JK Spins for Treats. And they said, I'm a lock when Lizzo is on the playlist, and this run was amazing. John was his usual awesome self. He absolutely never disappoints.
Segler 3 agrees. Moving on.
You concur.
I concur. Moving on. My one. So the next one is Ben Aldis's 30-minute 80s ride. It was from the 11th, 9 a.m. It was all about Ben on Monday morning. I know that you were on the ride too. And once again,
it was a fun one. He
has bangers on there. It was amazing just to see him, getting back to being Ben. And it was beautiful. It was a really fun, great ride. I loved seeing so many people on the leaderboard. It was great to be with everybody. And then next one's yours.
Yeah, and that Ben ride, I don't know if Ben, if he takes it personally when I poke fun at his accent and things calling bangers because of my stories during that 80s ride. I forget what song it was, but I posted in my stories in my terrible British accent. I said, I absolutely love this track. Honestly, I could listen to it on repeat because, that's a classic Ben. He said that before to Coldplay. And, I tag him and it shows that he's seen it, but he didn't comment.
Yeah, Ben Ben doesn't comment much.
Yeah. He's kind of quiet on social media, but I hope he doesn't think that I'm being mean-spirited because it's just all in good fun. So I love you, Ben.
Oh my goodness. I would doubt it.
Next up, it's one of mine. It's Jen Sherman, her 10-minute low impact ride. This one dropped. It was coach to camera, dropped on demand on the 11th. And I love this one because it starts off with John Mayer's Last Train Home from his new album that came out last year called Sob Rock, which I can't listen to enough. And then the next song is Coldplay's Fix You. And this really feels more like a cool down. So you could take this as a low impact. You could treat it as a cool down, as a post ride, a little extra 10 minutes to naturally cool your body down. But really just a really good ride with those first two songs. I can't even remember the other songs on there because I love the John Mayer track and then Coldplay, Fix You. But that one, I've already done it twice. So that one's going to be like probably my go-to cool down ride for, after I'm super heated and I need that extra time, to fully, get my body down to the optimal temperature.
Yeah, I hear you. And I like doing those 10-minute low impacts as a cool down as well. I do like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I always look for new 10-minute, rides if I need to do that extra, kind of cool down after a long ride or a long stack. So somebody messaged me and said, hey, Jen Sherman, she shouted you out in this class and it wasn't even live because Jen knows how much I love John Mayer. So she made mention to the fact that during that John Mayer song, she goes, I wonder if John Pruitt's taking this right now. It'll put a smile. So cool. It'll put a smile on his face.
Very cool. Very cool.
And then next up is Kirsten Ferguson's 30-minute Disney run That was also from July 11th and submitted by Council Cycle 76. They said really upbeat music.
I keep going because I have a couple coming up. So keep going. Go do one more.
And then Country Music Lady 229 submitted Dennis's 20-minute hip hop ride, also from July 11th. She said, hearing him rap his hip hop makes brutal spin ups more bearable. And you want to do the next one for Allie's?
Yeah, all right. So Allie Love, Titanium 325 recommended her 30-minute hit and heels ride. It's a brutal one at 6 a.m. in the morning. So kudos to Titanium. Did you really, John?
Yep.
Look at you. I'm impressed. So they said perfect combo of intervals. So huge kudos for anybody getting up at that time to do hit and heels. I mean, that and Tabata, I just don't get it. But okay. Moving on. The next is mine. Benny Adami's 30-minute low-impact ride. And you jumped off for that one. So you ended up doing his house, but didn't do his low impact. I don't believe, because I know we were on together. But that low impact
I did a 2:15 minutes.
That low impact was absolutely fantastic. So he actually started the ride off welcoming everybody in French. And I have to tell you, his French was perfection. And he even in his stories later that day thanked his French teacher from high school to say, thank you for teaching me what you did, because I was able to do this. So it was really cute. And the entire playlist were French songs. So he said the first ever French music ride. Every song was with a French artist. It was a fantastically coordinated low impact 30 minutes. So you really got to, get into the music and get into feeling it, and fantastic. Loved it. I had some good workouts this week. I have to tell you guys, the next one was Jocelyn Thompson Rule's 20-minute disco run. And I was so torn because Benny had his 15-minute house and then his 30-minute low impact. And Jocelyn had a 20-minute 80s walk and a 20-minute disco run at exactly the same time. And I figured to go live with Benny, and I ended up doing Jocelyn's On Demand. That 20-minute disco run was probably one of the most fun runs that I have ever done. I didn't run. I probably walked more than I ran because I was so busy singing and dancing. But she had Raining Men. She had Donna Summer. She had, you name it. The playlist was top class. And I got to tell you, I love her more and more every time I get onto the tread. She is definitely a go-to for me. Fantastic workout.
Nice.
All right.
Well,
go ahead.
Next up is Rebecca Kennedy's 30-minute hiking boot camp from July 13th. I got this one. I got dibs on the tread for Rebecca's hike boot camp this week. But this was submitted by Connor L. 3126 and I Am Kimiho. They said perfect low impact class that will get your heart up. And the next one was submitted by me. I'm surprised I'm the only one that submitted this, because this one was an amazing 20-minute 80s ride from Robin Arzon from the 13th, Wednesday the 13th. It was a movie edition, so all 80s movies.
Cool.
And she kicked it off with Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds, which is from The Breakfast Club, and she even, talked about a couple scenes in the movie. Then next was Let's Hear It for the Boy, which is from the Footloose, the original Footloose with Kevin Bacon from the 80s. And then Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins from Top Gun. And then If You Leave by Orchestral Movements in the Dark, OMD, which is from the movie Pretty in Pink with Molly Ringwald. And then the Ghostbusters theme. And then she ended it with In Your Eyes, Peter Gabriel, which is the 80s movie I associate with is Say Anything, John Cusack. But just a super fun ride. And it's funny, Jackie did that one live with me, and she's not like an 80s fan like I am. So she was like, yeah, I wasn't into that. And I absolutely loved it.
Who can't be who's not an 80s fan? Seriously.
Not for her. You can't please everyone,
okay.
Amanda.
I guess so. And you know what? That's why there's so much on the platform. That's why there is something for everybody.
Yep.
It is so true. Well, there was something for the Plattersons. 30-minute house ride by Jess King, the last pick of the week for this week. It was also from the 13th. We spoke about her doing this house ride series. They said educational and fun. So good to see her back. So I guess she was on vacation for a while, and this was her coming back. So thank you so much to everybody for all the submissions. I know there's lots of them, and John and I are like, are you sure you want to go through all of these? But it seems to be that folks want to hear about these, these picks of the week. So clearly, if you're not interested, then you'll just tune out at the end of the Instructors in the News. But for those of you that do like the picks of the weeks, we really appreciate you sharing these. I think we've diversified our platform of what is offered and not just the favorites of John and myself. So that's really great. Okay. And it's another week. So hopefully next week I will be able to share with you guys my experience from PSNY. Looking really forward to it. And I guess from me here in Maryland, thank you so much, folks, for tuning in, for listening, and for getting to hear. There was a lot this week that we had to share. It's great to have you back, John.
Jackie had big shoes to fill. Did she step up again?
She did great.
And deliver?
She certainly did. She certainly did. You know what? There wasn't a lot last week, but I think the show turned out to be great. So it's nice to know that we have a filler in when we need one. But anyway, from me here in Maryland, bye for now, everybody.
Well, I'm excited to hear all about your experience at PSNY on next week's episode, Amanda. I must say, though, I'm going to be a little bit jealous to find out all your different stories and interactions that I'm sure you'll have that I'll be very envious of. But I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I am looking forward to it. As folks know, next up is London, and my besties are all in London, but I feel so privileged that I was able to get in, and looking forward to getting to meet Chris Lewis and hang out, and we'll come back with lots of stories. So we thought about trying to see if they'd let us record from the studio, but we didn't think that was going to fly. So I guess you got us from Maryland and Ann Arbor, but yeah. For next week we'll share some more stories from the studio.
I look forward to it. Well, from me here in Michigan, appreciate you tuning in, watching, listening to us from wherever you are in the world. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Bye for now, everybody.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.